I am really excited to bring to the tribal leaders of Eden, John King, who has written Tribal Leadership, and I think he is going to delight you this afternoon. So welcome, John.
Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. I've been here since yesterday afternoon, and frankly, what it's been with me is allowing myself to be touched by who you are. It's very moving. My father made it to 92. My mom is 100. Yeah, eat your heart out. She was a heart transplant. She had not a heart transplant, but a valve transplant when she was 98, so she's medical history. And she is a pistol. So it is my honor. I've been mooting up for this for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I want to thank Chris Perna, and I want to thank everybody who has been here. So I've been so well taken care of. So I can see who you are, and I can see what you're up to, and I can see the importance of it and the difference that it's making. So I just want to tell you how much in advance I am honored to be here. It's a big deal for me. I went back and I talk in front of people quite often, but I went back and just completely redid my slides, so you and I are going to find out together what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is that this is a conversation, you know, that all we've got in life. My father made it to 92, and when I went to visit him with my family, and he was lying on his bed, he said, John, he said, it's just about space and time. And I went, yeah, Dad. And my father was a geologist. And so he had spent his life doing geology, and as he was lying on his bed, we were watching TV together, and the Mars rover was on Mars doing geology. Can you imagine that lifetime? And he's watching it. He said, you know, he said, we are too concerned with time. He said, everything is about the measures and the metrics and too concerned with time. He said, we should be more concerned with space. And I said, well, what do you mean by that, Dad? And he said, well, he said, we should be more concerned with creating space for people to be great. He said, we should stop being time bandits and start being space cadets. So I'm having a conversation today with a whole bunch of space cadets. You're busted. Okay? So this is a space conversation that we're going to have today, not a time conversation. I was teaching a number of years ago, and I had a young man in my class, extraordinary young man. He was Bantu. He was from Kenya, and he was Bantu. He was from the Rikuyu tribe. And it became kind of, my relationship with him became kind of a little bit sort of helping or aiding the idea of tribes in my life. As I said, my father was a geologist. I was raised on indigenous Native American reservations. I was actually raised in the Hopi reservation, and my father was adopted into the Hopi tribe. And so early on, we began to get what was the difference between the mainstream culture and what it is to live in a tribal kind of environment. And my father would go into the kiva, and they would consider things that were for the benefit or the good of the tribe. And they would sit for hours. And maybe someone would speak, maybe no one would speak. But they would be, you would hear all of a sudden, And about 16 people would go, and they'd start clearing their throat. And you got that they got to consensus. And they were considering on this basis. Is what we're talking about, is what we're thinking about good all the way down to the 7th generation? So what you're doing is something that is good to the 7th generation. So I want you to know, I get the tribe you are, and I honor the tribe that you are. My Bantu friend said, when Bantu get together, they don't say, hi, how are you? How's it going? What they say is, what is the nature of your dream? Imagine that. And then they go and they sit under a tree. And they have a conversation. They have a cup of tea. And they begin to talk to one another. And the fellow or the gal explains what their dream is about. And how we know that they're getting across in their communication, in Bantu communication, people start ending or completing each other's sentences. Now, you've done this with your friends. You know when you were really hot in the relationship and you start to complete what the other thought is and so on like that. And then at a point, the person who asked the question goes, "Ah, I see your dream." Well, today we're going to be talking inside of that, so I'm going to just put that into the background. But the question is not just a question for today, but a question for your life. And the question is, what is the nature of your dream? 3 basic principles. When I was beginning to get at this idea of tribal leadership, I really didn't know what I was doing, and I had been failing. I didn't know why I was failing because I was doing good stuff. I was a strategist, and I would work in organizations, and somebody would come up with amazing, amazing strategies, and we would try and implement them. And the strategies would fail, and they would fail again and again and again. And I knew it wasn't me, but it was hard not to take it personally. I knew that I was doing good work, but it was not working. Then one day, I saw something from Peter Drucker, a genius. Peter Drucker said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast every day." That changed my life. And then I saw, where do I begin to think and talk from and work from? And then I got it. I spent a period of time, not because I'm a smart guy, but because I'm a curious guy, at something called the Santa Fe Institute, which is the navel of the universe for chaos theory. And given how my life is, I figured chaos was a good thing for me to check out. There are 3 principles to chaos theory that can actually work for us as space cadets. Okay? The first one is order emerges from chaos. So, you know when it gets crazy? Just stop and start looking for the pattern. When you start to see the pattern, you'll begin to see the order in things. Okay? You've probably already learned this. The second one is that everything is related to everything else. So there is nothing in life that is not related to everything else. Now that is a point that becomes something that informs you in a particular way. We can operate out of fear, we can operate out of survival, and I know that you've thought and talked about this a lot. Or we can stand in the absolute principle of physics that everything is related to everything else. And then in addition, everything is communicating 24/7. So even if it doesn't look like it's communicating, and it's communicating big time. So when I began to look at that, I thought, well, there's something to be said about these notions of these places where I'm failing, and so I began to kind of examine that. And in the examination of that, I started a study that took 9.5 years, had 24,000 people involved in it, nonprofits, for-profits, small organizations, big organizations, public, private, the whole schmear. And when I got to a point where I had all of this data, I started crunching the numbers, and when I crunched the numbers, what came out astonished me and changed my life, and that's what I'm here to share with you today, okay? We called it tribal leadership. Now, it's just a name I made up, okay? But I made it up because I grew up in tribes. And I thought, you know what? Every time you put a group of people together and you've got more than about 20 people, what happens is they start to form into little clumps. And in those little clumps, they do something amazing. They begin to talk alike in the clump. Now, we saw that there were 5 different iterations of the way that they talked, okay? And the middle 3, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 are the ones. So the punchline to this whole story that I'm here for today with you is stage 4, okay? The punchline is stage 4, but it's a trick to get yourself there. Okay, this is the cultural map, and it will rise So at the very bottom, we call that bottom state undermining. Now, there's a very small percentage of people that are in this category, and mostly they're in jail, or they're incarcerated, or they're institutionalized somehow. It's a very small pathological group of people, about 3% in the total population unless you go into prisons, and then it's over 40%, okay? So this is one of the places, and they're undermining particularly for a reason. So we're going to take a look at how do they arise in language. This is a language-based kind of study, okay? We did language, and then we did another part of it that was more physics. So what they say is life sucks. Now, this isn't your 15-year-old kid going, Mom, life sucks. This is, no kidding, I am committed to life sucks, and it's a pathology. It's people who are not into relationship with the other people around us. You see, as a human being, we are social animals. And if we're not being social, then we're doing something that is against the species. It's just not the way we're wired. So at this one, what we've got is we've got alienated, all right? So they're in an alienated state. So that's stage one. Stage two, big jump up, huge step. By the way, a place that you and I all visit every single day, particularly when we're up to stuff and we're frustrated, okay? Number two is called ineffective. It's called ineffective because that's in the place where we're ineffective. Anybody ever ineffective? Yeah, you're lying if you don't have your hands up, okay? All right, so now we know something about this now, okay? It had not been distinguished prior to this study, but now it's distinguished. We know something about it. We know how to do something about it, okay? How to have you move from ineffective to useful. That's a good thing to know how to do. So ineffective actually says, my life sucks. They're not saying life sucks. They're actually going, wait a minute, life works. Life works really well. As a matter of fact, life is working over there for you, and working for you, and working for you, and if I had what you have, fill in the blank. If I had your car, I had your job, I had your, here's the big one, I had your connections, like that. If I was connected the way you were, my life would work, but I don't, so my life sucks, okay? Now, this is a place that when you are being ineffective, one of the things you might notice is loss of power, and a sense of aloneness, a sense of I'm not connected to other people. And usually what happens in this moment is people will kind of go into a hole. They'll kind of close up. They'll kind of pull the covers over their head. Exactly not the thing to do. Exactly the thing to do, get connected to other people. That's what pulls us out. What sources you? You might think of yourself as a, you're this elegant something, like a house, that has been built, but it isn't connected to the grid. So it has no source of power. So no matter how elegant the house is, there's no source of power. It's a pup tent, might as well be. But the second that you hook up this house to the grid, bam, it lights up, and it becomes a place that actually is useful for people, okay? We're the same way, only our grid is other human beings. So being connected to other human beings is vital to our growth and development, their growth and development, and to what it is as an expression as a human. Now, someone who's figured this out is at stage 3. By the way, they feel separate. But here at the useful level, by the way, top of the mountain, until about 8 or 9 years ago. This is about as good as it got, as much as we knew about it. But at useful, it's interesting. It's I'm great. Now, I'm great has something in the silence. And the in the silence is, and you're not. And I have the stats to prove it. Now, you're going to start to see people you know in this conversation, and one of them will have your name. Okay, this is an extremely human place to be operating. So, I'm great can only be great if they find a stage 2 around to basically dominate. So if I can interact with you in a way where I can get I'm great, you will go to My Life Sucks. And that's our relationship. So every My Life Sucks needs an I'm great. Every I'm great needs a My Life Sucks. This is the vast majority of human interaction. If you want to go to the front of the line, you will be going in front of roughly 75% of the people who are walking the planet if you go to the next space. Okay? So it takes something to get to there. But on a day-to-day basis, what we reward in America is we reward I'm great. So think of your teams. How many of you like sports in any way, shape, or form? You like sports, okay? Your team is either I'm great and their life sucks, and that's how the games go. We're in the playoffs in basketball, okay? So that's what's happening, okay? If you happen to have been somebody who was following maybe the greatest basketball player that ever lived, Michael Jordan, okay? Michael Jordan was famous for I'm great. He put it right in your face, okay? And by the time anybody challenged Michael Jordan and he got finished with them, they were pretty sure that their life sucked. Okay, he made sure that they knew. By the way, very interestingly, if you know who Phil Jackson is. Phil Jackson is a basketball coach, and he coached Michael Jordan. He also coached Kobe and Shaq in the Lakers, and he won 11 rings. So he wrote a book called 11 Rings. And in page 2 of that book, and then all the way through the book, he talks about tribal leadership and how he used the principles that we're talking about today to actually manage people who are that. Who are that. But where the money is, where the power is, where the real, true contribution to human beings is at stage 4. And at stage 4, this is called important. What we have is we're great. Now this is an amazing leap for human beings, because if you look at stage 1, 2, and 3, you see me, me, me. All of a sudden, the person is expanded to include other people. And not only that, but they're interested in other people. So there's something called a zero-sum game. A zero-sum game is a game in which somebody wins and somebody loses. If you look at this, you see nothing but zero-sum game, okay? Then there is something called a non-zero-sum game. A non-zero-sum game with a positive outcome is something that looks like this. It looks like partnership. It looks like people working together. It looks like we're all in the same boat, so grab an oar. We need to, start paddling here. Now, this is about 20% of the people that are around, but generally, they're not talking to each other. You know, one of the things that's amazing about this particular exercise that you're doing is that it's virtual, and that you have people in different locations. You see people in Fairbanks, Alaska, and some unpronounceable place in Nova Scotia, and New Zealand, and Australia. And we've got a Rain who won here from South Africa, and so on like that, and people from around the country. And what you're putting together could only occur in the 21st century. And it can only occur as a successful enterprise if we do it at stage 4. Okay? Stage 4 is the key. Anything that we do at stage 3 has people being better than others, creates a hierarchy, and actually creates resentment. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Okay, good. So stage 4 is where you are in flow, where you and people around you are actually operating and cooking in what it is that you're doing, okay? This is the stage that you want to be creating. This is the space. Remember, we're space cadets. This is the space that it is your imperative to create, okay? You are cultural architects. You are people who are designing the future for people to live in and flourish, okay? You guys say resonate well-being, yes? It's very close to what I say. I say radiate greatness, okay? Radiate greatness. Okay, and at stage 5 is vital. The word vital is from a Latin word vitae. It means life-giving, okay? And at Vital, its life is great, and at Vital, this is where team truly shows up. So team does not show up at stage 3. What shows up at stage 3 is people who say, I'm a great team player, as long as it's star and supporting cast, and I'm the star. You get that? That's where it is, but that's not a team. And part of it is not a team because we, I have to say this and call it on us, have not learned very much about effectively playing at the level of partnership. To be a partner, it's really weird. I was in business, and I was in business with a guy who was in a business school, and we wanted to set up a partnership, and he wanted to set up a thing where we were senior partner and junior partner, and I'm going, that's not a partnership. Can you get that? That's just more of I'm great and my life sucks. You get that? But a partnership is a peer relationship. It's an honoring of the other. It's an actual learning how to lead from your current position. The new work that I'm going to be doing is called Lead from Your Current Position. So you are indeed a part of a team. You are indeed a partner. You do pull your weight. You've got your oar. You are rowing. You are doing this thing called non-zero sum. We all win together or we all lose together, okay? This is an amazing, amazing project for you to be taking on, okay? Amazing. I cannot tell you how enlightened this conversation is that you're engaged in right now. Now, that's how it happens in language, okay? And how it happens in language actually has a particular kind of way of occurring. So what I need is I need some volunteers, okay? So I need some volunteers. I need 5 volunteers. So 5 volunteers, come on up. I think Chris Perna, where are you? You're a volunteer, okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, Lady in Gold, we talked a little earlier. Come on up, Miss Leopard Lady in Gold, okay. Yes, you, that's it. Yes, my second volunteer. Okay, where's Denise? Denise would be a good volunteer if she's here in the room. Okay, there we go, all right. Okay, that's 3. 2 more, 2 more. Oh, there you are, come on up. Yes, in your little blue dress. Everybody's kind of making themselves small, aren't they? Okay, including the guy in the green shirt right here, okay? Right in front of me, dude, with the beard. Okay, there you go. All right. Okay, come on up. Okay, if you just line up across, line up across, line up across, okay? Now, we're going to play a game, okay? And in this game, 1, 2, okay. In this game, you are going to be playing the part of one of the categories, one of the stages, okay? You're stage 1, sorry, 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, okay? So everybody's going to do this. Now, it's called acting, all right? So you have to kind of pull for them here, okay? Now, you only have one line, okay? Your line at stage 1 is life sucks. Let's hear it.
Life sucks.
Okay, a little too intense, a little more apathy, okay?
Life sucks.
Life sucks. Okay, can you hear it? Can you hear it? You've been there. You know that one. Okay, all right. Pass to her, okay. Say your name.
Jane Sweeney.
Jane, okay, Jane. So Jane, you are stage 2, okay? It's not life sucks, it's my life sucks. And in the my life sucks, it's a bit of a correction of his life sucks. So he said, life sucks. And you say,
My life sucks.
yeah.
But
and
I've
give me
never
a little
said that.
underline for my.
My
life sucks.
life sucks.
Yeah, there you go.
That's acting because
That's
I've never
acting.
said that.
Okay, can it, Jane? Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. Okay, so it is acting. You got that? All right. So my life sucks. Okay, a place where we've been. Okay, passing it on. Okay, my darling. Now, you are at stage 3. Okay, and your life is a conversation with Jane. Okay, Jane said,
My life sucks.
okay, good. Yeah, same day rule, Jane. Okay. Now, you say, I'm great.
I'm I'm great.
Yes, you never have to rehearse that one. It always shows up, okay? And this is how it goes all day long. Let her talk, then you talk, okay?
I'm great.
What did you say?
No. Say the line, darling. Say the line.
My life sucks.
Okay?
I'm great.
My life sucks.
I'm great.
My life sucks.
Good. Good. Are you getting this? You've been there, haven't you? Okay? If you're a manager, you're managing this all day long. You got that?
Yeah.
Because that is where it goes. Okay? Now, you're the manager.
Oh,
Okay?
God.
You're the manager, and your line is, we're great. Let's hear it.
We're great.
Yeah. I think we're going to need a little more out of you here.
All right, we're great.
Yes, see, it's a little bit of cheerleader, okay? So she does we're great, but you're doing,
I'm great.
and you're doing,
We're great.
and you're,
I'm great.
We are great.
I'm great.
No, we are great.
I'm great.
We
how about that one?
are great.
You got that one? Okay, who's winning?
No one.
Yeah, nobody's winning in the big picture, but somebody's killing somebody else. I'm great is killing her, okay? And you will do this all day long, right? And then you'll go into your office, and you'll close the door, and then you'll stand against the wall, and then you will go, my life sucks. And then you will come out, you'll open the door, and you'll go, we're great. Lying through your teeth. Who knows what I'm talking about? Do I hear an amen? Yeah, exactly. This is her life, okay? You're killing her, girl. So she doesn't want to talk to her. She wants to talk to her, okay? So here we go. So you go over and talk to her, to Jane now, okay?
We're great.
My life sucks.
Okay, go.
But we're great.
My life sucks.
And I'm going to say, what can I do to help you? But
Yeah.
anyway, we're great.
I'll tell you, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. 70% of all of the time that is spent by a manager is spent with a stage 2. 70%. And it's a complete and total waste of time. You got that? Oh, by the way, when they do the polls, what happens is when you ask the stage 4 manager, what do? They say, I go around and I talk and I listen to people. When you talk to the stage 2, guess what they say? Nobody listens to me. You got that? Because did you have any experience that she heard what you were saying? None. None. Zero. Zip. Nada. You got that? Okay. Now, how many are beginning to see this is kind of what goes on? None of it? Not one of you? Oh, you do? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. You about had a heart attack up here. And I'm going to be elder care in a minute. Okay, and you are, life is great.
Life is great.
There you go. Okay. The question is, what's he smoking? You got that? Because he's completely out of touch, and here's why. Anybody been to Switzerland? Anybody been to Switzerland? Few people been to Switzerland. Switzerland is like this: Alps, valleys, Alps, valleys, Alps, valleys. In every valley, they're speaking a dialect of Schweizerdeutsch. You got that? So he speaks a certain dialect of Schweizerdeutsch, and it sounds like life sucks. It sounds like life sucks. You got that? Now you go to the next valley, and she speaks a dialect of Schweizerdeutsch that is not exactly that, but is related, and it goes,
My life sucks.
got it? So she can actually understand him and translate him. Okay? Alp, valley, and she's speaking of dialect that says,
I'm great.
yes, and you can hear that. You can hear that. In fact, you hang around because that's what you want. You got that? But you cannot hear that. Too many Alps away. You got that? He's over here going, my life sucks, 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 sucks. Nobody's listening to you, dude. Okay, Alp Valley, and you speak a dialect that says,
We're great.
we're great. She can hear you, but you know what? If she talks to her and she dominates her, she goes, we're great, we're great, we're great, and the other one goes, and just to get her off her back, she goes, okay, we're great. But when she walks away, she goes, because I'm great. Yes, yes. Okay, now I want you to know something. You're not laughing because it's funny. You're laughing because it's true to the bone. You got that? Okay, so that's how this conversation is going to go. It's going to be true to the bone. Okay, great. Now, you have a great idea. We have a conversation, and in this conversation, we're going to have the World International Meeting. Okay? And you're hired. You hired him. Okay? Yeah, you did. Because why? Because let's hear your conversation. Your conversation is?
We're great.
And yours is?
Life is great.
Yeah, see? So it's a real easy conversation, right? You got a lot of agreement here. So we're going to hire, I'm going to be you for a second, okay?
All right.
So I'm going to hire you, and I'm going to, here, you keep this. I'm going to hire you, and you're going to be the keynote speaker. I'm just laughing. You're going to be the keynote speaker, and you have a message that's actually going to change people's lives, okay? Now, specifically, I want you to look and see whose lives are going to change. So she's already on board. See the lady with the little red blouse in there? Okay. Don't worry about her. She's managed, she's handled, she produces, she's great. See the lady with the leopard and the gold like that? That's the one we're targeting. Because this is Jane, and Jane is going through a phase. A phase. Remember phases? Jane is going through a phase, and if we can just get her uplifted, then Jane, who has all of this talent, all of this capability, all of this, everything that she could bring to the game, if we could just get her to snap out of it, we would get tremendous productivity out of Jane, okay? But she's going through a phase because...
I've lost my job.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I've
a verb.
lost my family.
I've lost, yeah, it's all, by the way, becomes all of that.
Emotionally torn up.
Emotionally torn up. Victim of the circumstance. You've been betrayed.
My best friend is a rat.
Your best friend is a rat. All of that story, which
I've never been appreciated.
never been appreciated. All of,
I got 4 raises and that made everybody jealous.
yeah, there you go. So, and all of that nets out to,
My life sucks.
you got that? You got that? So you're going to give your speech. Oh, by the way, see the guy in the blue shirt? Pay no attention to him, okay? All right. Now, 3% of the population, roughly 22, 23% of the population, close to 50% of the population, okay? So 70%, 75% right here. Then over here, you're working, this is about 20, 22% of the population, this is about 4 or 5% over here. Okay, so we're going to throw out, it's like diving. We're going to throw out the top and the bottom score. We're going to work with the middle. Okay, now you're going to give the speech. So what's your name?
Cody.
Cody. Okay, this is Cody. So I would like you for our international convention, put it together and welcome, give him a rousing, rousing thing. This is Cody who's going to save the day. All right, right here, right here. Okay, so Cody starts out with...
So how's everybody doing today?
No. Life is great.
Yeah. I was going to say life is great.
Yeah, good. Okay, so Cody says...
Life is great.
And Cody says again...
Life is great.
Very, very good, Cody. And 10 minutes into his speech, he goes...
Life is great.
And Cody, keep jacking it up because I'm paying you a lot of money. Okay, Cody says, 22 minutes in, he says...
Life is great.
Life is great. That's right. And 52 minutes or 27 or 42 or as we move along, Cody says...
Life is great.
Yes, and the third to the last thing that I want to leave you with is...
Life is great.
And now it's winding up and he's heading for home and he wants to leave you with...
Life is great.
Awesome, awesome. And the very last thing that I'd like you to hear from me, says Cody, is...
Life is great.
Yes, and a big hand for Cody. Okay, go back. Cody goes back and he talks to the person that hired him, and he says to her, he says, how did it go? And you say...
We're great.
Yes. And Cody goes, cool, send my check.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Now let me tell you something. Motivation doesn't get it. Okay? But Cody did a fantastic job there. Now we're left. Okay? Who did you want to make the difference with? With Jane, right? Go down and ask Jane how that speech impacted her. Just go ask her.
Can I?
Yeah.
Hi, Jane. How was Cody's presentation?
I've been living my whole life to hear that.
Oh, please. Please.
My life sucks.
If you take a look at it, it never moves the needle. It never moves the needle. And it may move it for 10 minutes, but we go to the next day, you slept, you know, and all those good thoughts drained out of your ear. You know how when you sleep and the snot rolls out and the drool comes out of your mouth and everything? I know, not you, but you know people like that. The good thoughts just drain out and you wake up into, my life sucks. You know, that's where you are. Going, oh my God, you spent all this money on this guy, he's gone now. So talk to her. Maybe some miracle occurred. Ask her how it went. What did she get out of this?
Her life sucked. So, Denise, how'd you think about Cody's presentation?
I'm great.
Yep. And it's worse than that. I'm great, and I'm pissed. Now, why would she be pissed?
It was a waste of my time.
You hired the wrong person. She's the one that feels that she should have been paid to make the big speech. You got that? Okay, so that's how it happens in language, okay? Sorry, Chris. Life sucks. Okay, good. Give him a big hand. Thank you guys very, very much. Give him a big hand. Great job. Great job. Great job. Now, it's just like math, okay? You have to be able to check your work. So it happens in language, right? So in language, answer me this question. Do people lie? How often? A lot, right? People lie. So you have to be able to check the math. You know, like when you add up a column of figures and you get 100, and then you subtract, and you get down to 0, you have checked your math, okay? The way that you check your math with people is you listen to what they say, that adds it up, and then you take a look at how they congregate or clump up with one another. It's called their structure. And here's the deal, structure never lies. So if you want to check your work, you want to make sure that what they're saying is correlate with the way they're hanging out, people they're hanging out with. Okay? Does this make it, did I say that right? Yes. What they're saying is correlate to their structure. So let's take a look at the structure. This is stage 1. Life sucks. You'll see all the people are around in one place, and this one person is outside of everybody on their own. It gives you some compassion for people who are in that position. It gives you an understanding of why life sucks for some people, okay? So that's stage 1. Now, stage 2, this is the one we've all gone through. Every time you've changed your job, every time you changed going to another school, every time you moved to another town, every time something new came on, there were the people, and there was you in the middle. Okay, right in the middle. This was me in junior high. This was me, You know, when I went from my high school to college. This was me when I went from college, got married, and then later on went into the Army. Okay? This is me. And until I can get myself connected, because human beings need to be connected, I am that thing that is off the grid. Okay? I don't have the thing. So here's what stage 3 figured out. Smart person. By the way, these are smart people too. They're just kind of a little put off by the 3s that are lording it over them. Stage 3. They find people who are effective. They find people who are good at what they do, and then they put themselves at the center of that. It's called hub and spoke. So in the hub and spoke, they are I'm great, and you can see why. Now, who knows this principle? Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Here's where it came from. This came from Machiavelli, okay? And he said, get all the knowledge into one person, and you be the person who controls all the knowledge, and then you dole it out. And don't let them talk to each other. You will do all the talking. So you report to me, you report to me, you report to me. You're all doing separate things, little things that I've delegated out for you to do. You talk to me. Do not talk to her. Machiavelli said to the 8 smartest people in the duchy, when he put them together, he said, don't let them talk to each other. And he said, and if they do, he killed them. Okay? So when you're around people who are interested in hoarding all of the information and all the knowledge, you're in a stage 3 environment. Okay? Now, that worked all the way through the 20th century. It is not working in a tribal community, because in a tribal community, we all have access to all of the information all the time. It's called the internet. Okay? So we have access to all information all the time. Now we want to learn how to leverage the power of everybody having information. So rather than hoarding the information, you don't get paid anymore for having all the information. You get paid for wisdom. You get paid for making a difference. You get paid for leading from your current position. Okay, is this making sense? Okay, good. So here's I'm great. And here's what it looks like on Monday morning at the office meeting. Okay? Just sit down, we'll talk, and I'll create a bunch of mini-me's. Okay? I walk out of the office, and guess what they do? They go back to being themselves. Here's the rest of my week. The rest of my week, putting people on my page, and them getting off my page and going back on their page. I get home on Friday night, I come in, I say, hi honey, I'm home. She says, how was it? I go, they're so stupid. If they would just do what I said. We've been there, haven't we? We've worked in conditions like that. We've maybe even been that guy or gal, okay? So, first of all, nomini, huvla, huvla, you're all forgiven. Okay? Let's take a look at something here. If I ask you the question, what are the minimum number of people in a relationship to have it be stable and effective? What do you say? Hello? What? 2. If you ask this question, except for the smart rats in the back, if you ask this question, people say 2. And you wonder where that came from. Where did people learn that 2 was the most powerful number? Okay? Well, here's where we learned it. We learned it from every song we ever sang. We learned it from every movie we ever went to. We learned it from every poem that we ever read. We learned it from every love song or love letter that we ever wrote. You complete me. It's all about 2. Okay? It is so in the culture that it has become the law of 2. Okay? So we live inside the law of 2. Now, laws work all the time. I'm going to come visit you for a second here. So let's see how a law actually works. Okay? I'm going to demonstrate a law. Okay? And you're going to tell me what law it is. This is a law. How often does that work It works every time. Doesn't work all the time, it works every time. You got that? Laws work every time. Now, we've got the law of two. You got that? What's the divorce rate? About 50%. Any law that fails 50% of the time is not a law. We are living in a myth. This may be the biggest thing you're going to take away today. We are living in a myth. So let me ask you the question another way, okay? You are so cute. Let me ask you the question the way a physicist or an engineer might ask it. What's the minimum number of anchor points for an object to be stable? 3, like a tripod, right? That's the minimum number. More is better. Much more is much better. We're going to learn how to network right now, okay? You have been taught incorrectly. So we're going to learn how the correct way to network. You know that one where you go to those ugly little meetings and you drink bad coffee and you eat sweets and you walk around and people pass out the cards? Don't ever do that again, okay? It's ineffective, okay? Here's a stable relationship. This is you, okay? And you're a connector. You know this person over here. And there's something powerful between you, okay? Now, I want you to know something. There's nothing here at all, okay? There's really nothing there at all. If there's anything, there's something between us, okay? There might be something like respect or honor or friendship or love. But the only power is in the in-between. It's in the invisible place in between. Think of how you work with people. The real power is in the in-between. There's really nothing over there, and there's really nothing over here. It's what can we acknowledge that is between us that makes it work. What is it that touches us and moves us? Okay, so between A and B is something. We're going to call it respect. Okay, we're going to call it the core value of respect. Okay? Now you have another friend or another person in your life, and that person is over there, and guess what? There's something between you. You have an insight. I'm going to actually do something that actually is more advanced than what I did in junior high. Because you know when you were in junior high, you showed up and here was your buddy, and I'd seen you and I hadn't seen you all summer and we're going to have a great time. We're in the 7th grade and it's going to be awesome and so on like that. And we're kind of hanging around thinking about what junior high is going to be like, and then all of a sudden you come along and you take him away and suddenly my life sucks. And people make a decision that I will only be in relationships with one at a time because I can control my relationship. But adults don't do that. Adults actually form multiple relationships and they empower them. So A says B and C can at least honor each other. At the very least, they could honor each other. And so doing that connects them. Now here's what happens according to the law of reciprocity. B says, I could actually honor the integrity between A and C. It'll look like maybe this, maybe that. Don't know why I'm having trouble with this. There we go. Okay. Now watch. What's being empowered is the relationship between people. Okay? Not what's going on over here, not what's going on over there, but actually the mutual admiration, appreciation, love, friendship that's going on between us. We put you into the mix. Your job is not to mess with me. You got that? Your job is not to mess with him. He's a big boy. I wouldn't mess with him either. Okay? Your job is to nurture what's between us. If we say it's respect between us, you are always nurturing the respect that is between us. You are, in fact, at the corner of things. Here's the one and only rule of triads. The vertex, which is the corner, holds themselves accountable for the quality of the relationship on the opposite leg. I am responsible for what's going on between people. Now, is that the truth? Probably not. But I'll tell you, it's a powerful place to operate from. To say, look, I'm going to take on what's going on between the two of you. And I'm going to work on that. So if you've got friendship going on, when I see friendship has disappeared, my job is to go, hold it, girls. Let's sit down and talk, and let's get that recovered. Okay? So your job is to be accountable for the quality of the opposite leg in a triangle. You got that? And your life is filled with triangles. Everywhere in your life that you are powerful and expressive, there's a triangle. Okay? It could be you and me and Eden. Eden is the third element. And I'm always building your relationship to Eden. You're always building my relationship to Eden. And Eden is always building our relationship with each other. Can you see how that works? That's how triads work. Your job for the rest of your life is to do nothing but form triads. Okay? That's where it happens. Now, watch this. Stage 4 is exactly like stage 3, except here's stage 4. It's a hub and spoke, except everybody's triaded. Now, we've got an enormously powerful, I call it a package. Okay? I've got an enormously powerful little group of people, and it's no longer about you at the center. It's about all y'all, as they say down in Tennessee. It's about all y'all. Okay? So we want to get into networking is an all y'all kind of phenomenon. Now watch. You figured this out. You got good at it. And in getting good at it, you were able to build a very powerful, effective thing. This, just so you know, this is what we've got, what we're working in. And it's all sitting there just waiting to be distinguished for us and turned into, by way of this, turned into this. Okay, no wonder we're great. You got that? Now, amazing thing is people figured it out before you. And that's what stage 5 looks like. This is what stage 5 looks like. That's called a network. But another way of looking at it is, it's called a circuit. Okay, like an electrical circuit. And it only works when the power's turned on. Now, anybody at any terminal in this circuit has access to all information all the time. And anybody could look out there and go, look at that table right there. They get it. You know, they use that expression. They get it. They get it. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull them in. We're just going to tractor beam them in. And that's how we grow our networks. Okay? We actually bring in people who have figured it out and are working so that we don't have to change them. We don't have to, you know, make ourselves crazy with people who are on a completely different thing. I have an organization that I founded a few years ago. I have never talked about it from the front of the room before. It's an organization called 1,000,000 Acts of Innovation. I want to tell you something. 1,000,000 Acts of Innovation is going to adopt Eden Alternatives because you are ahead of us. I don't want to actually reinvent the wheel. And I've been taking a look at what you're doing, and I am moved by it. I'm moved by your values. I'm moved by what you're up to, and I'm moved by how you are approaching healthcare in a modern way. So we have a healthcare initiative. Now, what we are is we're a shell, okay? And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're providing an environment. We're space cadets. And we're providing an environment for people who have like ideas to come together and do stuff like that, to network themselves. By the way, that is Eden Alternatives, yes? Isn't that what you are? So in order for you to be working, you need to be a stage 4, stable at stage 4 organization. There's no stability at stage 5. You come in, you do the great stage 4, you do the stage 5 initiative, the big one, you know, the one that made history, and then you go back to here, and you work on yourselves. And then when the next opportunity comes along and the next call comes up, you do this again. You hook up and you get yourself connected. So this is what the whole thing looks like. Where you want to be is you want to be at stage 4. The amount of production at stage 4, believe it or not, is 300 to 500% more than at stage 3. Okay? And guess what? We don't argue and fight there. Now, do people have differing points of view? They have differing points of view. Are people passionate and powerful about it? Yes, they're passionate and powerful about it, but they're also honoring. So this is where the values really come in. Now, what is the nature of your dream? See, we're all Bantus in this tribe. What is the nature of your dream? So, my dad was lying on his bed, and he said, you know, John, he's 92. He said, you know, when you get to the end, you're not going to be in a conversation about how much money you made. You're not going to be in a conversation about what you accumulated or how many things you got done. Your conversation is going to be, what are you leaving? What did you touch? Who did you move? What difference did you make? How did you do it with the family? And he's telling me this, and about that time, Kira, my granddaughter, walks in. Kira's 8 years old. She looks at Papa John, my dad. She says, Papa John, is this the ashes to ashes thing? He says, yes. And he has her come up on the bed with him, and he's holding Juliet. Juliet is 1 month old. Juliet today is 16 years old, and she's a soloist with San Francisco Ballet. He's holding Juliet, and my father goes around the room and he starts talking about the circle of life and how we come into life and how we pass through life and we go through these phases. And he goes all the way around the room, and when he gets finished, Kira goes, thanks, Papa John, hops down. And then my father starts around the room, acknowledging people around the room for the difference that they made. He gets to my mom. He completely toasts my mom. He says, Mary, you've been my best friend for 63 years, he said, and I don't regret a thing. It's been an amazing run. Then he looks at me and he goes, I'm the first son. And he says, I don't have any regrets about the past, but I have 2 regrets about the future. And I said, what are they, Dad? And he said, my first regret is that I won't live to be 100, and I won't make it to the turn of the century. I wanted to do that. I said, I got it, Dad. I said, what's your other regret? And he looked at me and he said, John, my second regret is that I will never, ever, ever win the Reader's Digest sweepstakes. And my father left on a laugh. A few minutes later, he said, I'm having a little trouble breathing. And he passed. Now, what is the nature of your dream? What are you going to take back to your families and to your communities? That's what I want you to sit in. It's been a profound honor for me to be here with you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please.
Thank you.